So we no.
Here you freely choose to reject or accept God. Yes, I agree. But I'm talking about once you die, on the day of judgment, it is God who is going to judge.
No. So listen.
That's the reason it's called the day of judgment.
Yeah. So then,
what I mean? And this judgment requires a criteria.
So then,
this criteria is that if you have submitted to God based on what He told you and how to submit, then you will be given the reward of paradise. However, if you have failed the test and failed to submit to God, again by your own free will, then you.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فتعالى الله الملك الحق ولا تعجل بالقرآن من قبل أن يقضى إليك وحيه وقل رب زدني علما.
What that means is that God would love the believers and the disbelievers. You're saying God doesn't. Do you believe in heaven and hell? How does that work? When you're going to put some people in the hellfire?
Yeah.
Those
so
who
then,
don't believe.
Yeah. So then,
how is that unconditional love?
Yeah. So the normal understanding is that God loves every single person. So when I was in a sin, living a sinful life. Prior to becoming a Christian, God loved me, okay, and He loves me in the exact same way that He loved me after I became a Christian, okay. However, one second, so
in the year after.
Yes, I'm saying. Some people try and argue against, let's say, the reality of hell because they say, how can a loving being send, this sinner to hell? Well, then we normally say that, well, God, number one, He's loving, but He also has another attribute of just. And so, or justice. So,
which brings in the condition.
Yeah, no.
See what I mean?
One second, no. So His justice.
You use the word just,
no.
You bring in the condition.
No. So His justice does not negate from His love. So even though I can love someone, I can love.
Two different things.
Well, yeah, I know.
Justice.
I know. That's what I'm trying.
Love are two different
that's
things.
That's what I'm trying to say.
When you say that He uses His justice to basically condemn people to hell or reward them by putting them in heaven. You see, this justice is the condition. So it's not unconditional.
Yes.
His love, obviously, you wouldn't say God is loving to disbelievers who are condemned to eternal damnation in the hellfire. Would you call that love?
I would say He's loving to them.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Do you know what I'll say?
Can I
finish my point? Can I finish my point? Can I finish my point?
Yeah,
okay.
Sure.
So I would say that if God brought all people who willingly, through a free will decision, decide not to follow Him and form their nature in such a manner that they don't want to be in the presence of God, I would believe that it's not a loving thing to bring that individual into heaven.
From whose
because
perspective?
one second, just from my perspective, because you asked me.
These people who are the disbelievers, and they're disbelieving based on their own free will. Yes. You're saying they are not loving.
No. So what I was saying was, is it loving to put someone in a scenario that they do not want to be in? So let's say, no, they don't want to be in. So let's say, one second. Yeah, so let's say, I love philosophy, yeah? I'll give you an example.
I can tell.
I can sit down for 2 hours. Let's say listen to Richard Swinburne. I can listen to him for 2 hours, okay? If I bring my wife there, okay, and I believe it's the most loving thing, you need to learn about this philosophy. If I bring my wife to, sit down for 2 hours, she'll say, what is this? This is painful. This is hell. I don't want to listen to this for 2 hours, okay? Because her mind is not in that manner to be able to be in that scenario. She doesn't want it to be. Yeah. So I'm saying someone who willingly chooses to submit themselves to God and, follow His way and want to be in His presence, but then being in His presence when they die is something which they would want to be in. It's a state of happiness. But someone who chooses and decides, I don't want to be with this God. I want to live for myself independently. I don't want to be with this being. I don't care about a God. I don't care about your understanding of heaven, hell, blah, blah, blah. I'm just going to live my own life, okay? Let's use an example like Richard Dawkins. Would it be, a loving thing then for God to say, actually, you know what? I don't care about your free will choice that you made in all your 70 to 80 years on this earth to not follow me. You're still going to be with me. And you're going to be with me for all eternity. For me, I don't think that is really a loving thing to do. So then you have to then say, isn't the loving thing to do to allow the person, if he chooses to go down this way, the loving thing to do is allow him to go down that way. allow him to go that path then and say, okay,
No, that's why you're wrong.
okay, let me know.
You see, at the end,
Yes.
it is not the person who chose
Yes.
not to submit to God
Yes.
who is going to go to hell by his own free will. He will be put in there, condemned to hell
Yes.
by God.
Yes.
So it is the God which you're calling unconditional love who is going to condemn him to hellfire.
Yes.
You see what I mean?
Yes. But
And
the Christian,
I still want to know, how do you comprehend this, that this is love when this is actually punishment?
Yeah.
Unless you're trying to say love and punishment to God means the same thing.
No. So,
Isn't that punishment?
Yes.
Condemning them to hell. Isn't that their punishment?
yeah.
That's
So I mean,
definitely not a reward.
yeah. One second. So it depends which theological position you have.
Any theology-
No, I'm saying within.
I'm sure they will differentiate between reward and
No,
punishment.
one second. So within a certain strand of Christianity, there is an understanding that we freely choose to reject God, and we freely choose
No, I'm talking
our
about
own.
hereafter.
One second.
I'm talking about
No. So
Here you freely choose to
No.
reject or
So,
accept God. Yes,
yeah,
I
so,
agree. But
one
I'm
second.
talking about once you die, on
Yes.
the day of judgment, it is God who is going to
No,
judge.
so
And
listen.
that's the reason it's called the
Yeah.
day of judgment.
Yeah. So
See
then,
what I mean? And
yeah.
this judgment requires a criteria.
So then-
And this criteria is that if you have submitted to God
Yeah.
based on what He told you and how to submit, then you will be given the reward of paradise. However, if you have failed the test and failed to submit to God, again by your own free will, then you will be condemned to hellfire. It's a simple scenario. On the day of judgment, it is God who's going to make the decision. So anyone who says God has unconditional love, they do not take into account God's punishment, because
Yeah.
punishing someone,
Yes.
like for example, look, if your child does something wrong, you might punish him, but then that punishment is something which is befitting your child. You see, you're not going to eternally burn him in hellfire. Yes, I wouldn't call you a loving father if you burn his finger, even if he does something wrong. Then I wouldn't call you a loving father, because you are basically punishing him something beyond that child's capability. Now, if God does this
Yep.
to a person
Yeah.
who has rejected him, who has decided not to submit to him, and he burns him for eternity, no one can say that is a love of God. That is a punishment of God. That is a wrath of God. And you do understand, God,
Yeah.
this loving God which you call unconditional love, has also got wrath.
Yeah.
Yes?
But I would say
He's
just
able
yeah.
to show his wrath and his love and his justice. All three of them
Yeah.
are intrinsic to God. So no one can say his love is unconditional, because Jesus, in the Old Testament you'll find that people who are believing in other gods, people who lie, people who are hypocrites, God hates them. He uses the word hate. Yes, I hate the sinners, I
Yep.
hate X, Y, and Z.
Yep.
So these people are condemned by God.
Okay.
So this unconditional love is not something from the example of either the New Testament or the Old Testament, because in both places God talks about the hellfire.
Yeah. So I would. One second. Just to respond to you. Number one, it depends how, because you're using the term hellfire, fire, blah blah. Depends how you interpret those specific passages. I normally don't.
from yours?
No. So I normally
What
would
is
take the
your
position.
definition?
No, I would take the position that when it's talking about hellfire, obviously it's not talking about literal hellfire, literal fire, because then also Jesus, let's say, says, the worm never dies, okay? But then if we're talking about literal fire, wouldn't the worm then cease to exist? Because it will be burnt up into ash and will become ashes. So then it can't be using the term fire in a literal way. He's just using a hyperbolic way of saying, this is very, very bad. You're going to be in some manner not in God's presence, and it's going to be, horrible. Okay,
By the way, burning doesn't
Yes.
mean that you're going to cease to exist.
Yes.
It means
So-
you'll burn for eternity. That means God will give you such a
Yes.
body which will not perish
Yes.
even by burning.
Yes.
So you'll be feeling the pain, yes, call it torture if you want.
Yes.
But this is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that that entity who's punished will perish.
Yes.
Just to make
But I
it
mean,
clear.
but then if we're
By the way, do you not believe in a literal hell?
no, so I believe in a literal hell, but then you have to say
Literal hell with literal fire.
no, not with literal fire. So
what is-
I would
what-
say,
what-
well,
what is hell constitute of?
hell. I don't think the nature of hell, and you can really define it as we have this specific position. And the church never actually made a declaration that this is the nature of hell.
So what do you think will happen in
yes,
hell?
I'm saying I have to be a bit agnostic on it. I just have to say it's the absence of God, and obviously being in some way, I don't know how that's possible,
It is the verse.
One second.
No, not from the Quran.
Yeah, no.
Because he believes as a Christian.
No, because this verse, it says about the skin.
Skin will
Yeah,
be replaced.
one second.
Because
That's the reason I said Allah will give you such a body.
Can I?
Yeah.
We should not
Yeah,
touch it.
I know, but that's not my specific interpretation. But I'm saying that,
It's a miracle itself.
yeah, I'm saying some people took this as hyperbole. So when Jesus was speaking about fire, he meant that it's the absence of God is going to be something that is so disastrous, you don't want to be part of that. Some people took it literally. Some people said, no, it's a literal fire.
What do you mean
But then,
absence of God?
so in whatever manner,
Don't
yeah.
you believe God is everywhere?
Yes, omnipresent, yes.
So if he's omnipresent,
Yes.
how can there be absence
Yes.
of
But then
how can there be absence of God, for example, in your scenario here, the hellfire?
Yes. But then it depends what you mean by omnipresent. It depends how you define it.
By the way, the Muslims
Yes.
don't believe that. The Muslims believe that God is omnipresent in the sense that his knowledge is everywhere.
Yes. Oh, yeah, good. So, I mean, the philosophical position on
I mean, if
omnipresence.
the Christians have the same position, because from
Yeah.
what I heard, most Christians, to my knowledge, they believe in a literal hell with literal fire.
Yeah. No, but,
And that's also the Muslim position.
yeah.
Just to make sure.
Well, omnipresence, I mean, in the literature, a lot of people would define it as God is cognizant of. That means he knows what's happening at that point in space, and he can act, he's causally active at that point in space. So God is not omnipresent as in he takes up space, like God is just, divided amongst our reality. No, that means he knows what's going on here, and he can causally act at this point in time. That's what omnipresence means. So what that just means is that whatever we're meaning by omnipresence, we're just saying that God is not omnipresent in that whatever sphere of reality that's called hell. And it just means that God knows what's going on there, but he can't causally act at that point of space.
So you're saying these people who have been condemned in hell,
Yes.
they will not be harmed in any way or form?
No. So I'm saying they will. I'll say I don't know. Because that's the issue. Because a lot of scholars would say that...
Isn't the word lake of fire mean the lake of fire?
Yeah, but what did it mean? Did it mean, the dumping place outside of Jerusalem when it used the word like Gehenna? What was that referring to? Was that referring to the dumping place? Was it referring to literal hell? So I'm saying there's a divided position on it. I take the position that it just means that God is not causally present there. God will not, interact there with people. He knows what's going on there. He knows this person is there. He knows what's happening there, but he won't causally act there. When we say God is omnipresent, let's say on the earth, we're saying he knows what's going on here and he can causally act here. He will, pray, answer someone's prayer or something like that. Anyways, just to go, I do need to rush off in a few minutes.
Thanks.
But I just wanted to say last thing about the perfect goodness thing.
Yeah.
This is quite a strong conclusion I'm saying, because I'm saying it's logically incoherent for there to be less than 3 divine persons. I'm going for quite a strong position here. No, but I'm saying because perfect goodness...
What you're telling me is that God, in order to love, he needs somebody else there.
No. Remember what I said? Remember what I said there? In order for him to express a certain form of love. That's what I'm saying. So he can still love himself, self-love. He can still, show a certain type of love to creation or whatever when he decides to create it. However, he cannot show caritas love, because caritas love requires that of an equal, that you can share your totality of being with another thing. God cannot share his totality of being.
Is that necessary for God?
What? Yeah, yes, because...
Caritas love, is
yes,
that necessary?
yes, it is. Because, remember...
Are you saying he'll be less loving if this wasn't the case?
Yes, he wouldn't be a perfect being, because remember what I said.
Because you're talking about now, again, something that is a dependency for God. You see, I've always seen this amongst the Trinitarians who believe, because somehow there's always a dependency between the 3 beings, otherwise they wouldn't be fully themselves or something. Not fully loving, not fully just, so on. You see, this dependency, and it's something that goes against God's nature, and God is someone who is majestic, who is almighty by himself. You see, he doesn't need anyone. Like, for example, in the Quran, there's actually a verse which says that if all the creation of God, if all the people stop believing in God, it won't make an iota of a difference to his majesty. And if all the people start believing in him and follow him and submit to him, it still won't raise the status of his majesty any higher. Because you see, God is someone who doesn't change his nature. So he doesn't become from an almighty God to a being who's a human being, and then he dies by his own creation and so on. This is something that is the change in the nature of God. And I believe God doesn't change his nature. God's nature and his attributes are eternal.
Yeah, I do agree with you.
Anyway, I got to
yeah.
pray, but if you want to discuss further, maybe
Yes,
you can
yeah.
carry on after the
Yeah.
prayer if you're still around.
I might have to shoot off.
I will
Very
see you
good.
for a while.
Yeah, no,
You're busy.
I had a child, so it's
I see. Oh,
just, yeah, thank you very much.
congratulations,
Yeah, so I'm just,
Is that your first or?
yeah, first. So just, you know, all nappy
Join the
changes.
club.
Yeah,
Sleepless nights.
yeah, exactly. But it's good. But I'm hoping to come a little bit more. Come a little more. We can have our great chats because I enjoy it.
Always.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. Thank you.
It's always-